So this is the self-development with tactics book.
So, this one's gonna be about from rags to riches, which is actually something that's pretty interesting, at least in my point of view, at least as how I have been thinking about it. And there's gonna be a little bit of a story, first of all, and then second of all, we're gonna go maybe, I think, through the Wikipedia page of quite a list of people that were actually poor and then have actually been really, really fucking rich. But yeah, there's gonna be more after the intro, as every day. And it is silent, and I hope it is not silent for you, but it's probably because of my volume, because it is off, or it is just really low, or whatever. But yeah, with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast with your host, Christopher Walch. And I'm looking forward to this episode, even though I've actually realized that I'm having to record 2 episodes today. So I'm actually a little bit in a hurry because I had to get my just Christmas presents. Like, it is always like such a fucked up thing. I do not want to say I hate buying gifts, but I just at least do not really like it. I really don't like it. But, you know, the thing is, I have to look at the price. You know, it shouldn't be too expensive because I'm not having a lot of fucking money. Then it should be something that the person really likes to have, which is actually kind of the first one. Because, like, if I'm finding something and I know that this person is gonna fucking love it, then yeah, okay, if it is like $5 too expensive for just my kind of opinions or my worldviews, then I'm still gonna buy it, probably. And which is actually, I think, the point for quite a lot of people. And it is probably one of the reasons why those times like Christmas and Easter, and it still depends on your region, of course, like all these specific just time zones, or actually kind of time spans like Easter and Christmas and maybe Hanukkah or whatever. Like all these things were just a lot of businesses make a fucking lot of money because people don't care about money, at least that much then. But yeah, which is actually pretty interesting, by the way. So the Wikipedia page is really interesting, and also the article that we're now gonna go through. And as you can see, it is not a site that we have been on up to this point because we are on the Derek Sivers, I think .com, or is it DS? No, it is sivers.org. SIVERS.org. Derek Sivers, to just give you some sort of context, he is an entrepreneur, he is a musician, he's actually quite a lot of things, and he's also just pretty into like living below his means because he's actually having quite some money. Like, he's definitely not poor. I just wanted to look up his net worth, but I couldn't find anything actually, which is quite rarely the case, you know. Most often you're gonna find some sort of a just statistic or you're gonna just see how much they are worth actually, most often, you know. But this is actually one of the kind of not really often appearing situations where you're not gonna be able to find it. Yeah, English on point. But it is still very interesting, this story. And I'm actually really, really, really looking forward to reading this. And therefore, I'm now gonna read it. So, how I got rich ends, on the other hand. I don't usually talk about money, but a friend asked me what it was like to get rich. And he wanted to know specifics, so I told him my story. And it is actually a podcast, by the way, I assume, you know, because I'm just seeing a play button here and also a play interface. So yeah. I had a day job in Midtown Manhattan paying $20,000 per year, which is quite nothing, about minimum wage. On weekends, I would earn $150 per day performing circus shows for kids. I would spend about $50 on bus fare to get to the gigs. I was sharing a 3-bedroom apartment with 2 other roommates in Queens, so our rent was $333 per month each. I made peanut butter sandwiches for 3 meals a day, and at night maybe some eggs. I never ate out and I never took a taxi. My cost of living was about $1,000 a month. I was earning $1,800 per month. I did this for 2 years and I saved up $12,000. And I was 22 years old at this time. Once I had $12,000, I could quit my job and become a full-time musician, which basically was his dream, some sorta. I knew I could get a few gigs per month to pay my cost of living, so I was free. I quit my job a month later and never had a job again. When I finished telling my friend this story, he asked me for more, and I said no. that was it. He said, no, what about when you sold your company? I said, no, that didn't make a big difference in my life. That was just more money in the bank. The difference happened when I was 22. It is not how much money you have. It is the difference between what you have and what you spend. If you have more than you spend, you're rich. And if you spend more than you have, you're definitely not. If you live cheaply, it is easy to be free. Magicians wave one hand around to get your attention, while the other hand does the trick. To be smart, watch the other hand. Well, yeah, which means that you should maybe be spending less, which is going to enable you to have more, basically, and to be quote unquote richer. Because it definitely makes sense. And it is also something, and this is also one of the reasons why I'm pointing it out. The whole point of the story is that you shouldn't be spending too much money. And you shouldn't be spending the money on dumb shit. Because as you can see, if you're having $1,800 per month, it doesn't give you the ability to just spend your money on dumb shit. And then actually being able to save $12,000 on the age of 22 years old in 2 years, it is amazing. It is one of the things that even people that are just making just double the amount of money, they're not saving that because they're not living below their means in such a quality or in such a way. Because nobody wants to just live in a department or apartment with two other people, in a really small one, I assume actually. And but still, if I'm just calculating it, it is 300 times 3, which is quite $1,000 per month. I mean, like, he would actually be able to do that, I guess. But yeah, the thing is, he really lived below his means. And I do want to encourage you to just not spend your money on dumb shit, but actually just saving it for, and I do not really like it, but to be free. Because, so the reason why I don't actually like it is that such a lot of people are talking about financial freedom. And it is one of these catchphrases that a lot of just, I wouldn't say companies, but a lot of organizations maybe used to just get you into their program or get you into their course or get you to do something, because everybody wants to have financial freedom. Everybody wants to be free. It still just really is a different thing in America or in the United States as it is in Europe. In Europe, we are thinking about freedom as a word, freedom as such. Like, of course, we do as a person want to be free, but it does completely mean something different. And I would argue way more in the United States. I can actually not tell why, but I believe it. I really believe that it is something different and that it is something that's maybe more important just because it has a different meaning, just because it is somehow differently connotated. It is connotated, I guess. So how could you actually spend less money? Eating out is something that's very, very, very expensive. I'm not eating out at all until or unless I actually have to, because in some situations I do just have to eat out. It is what it is, and it has been the case when I was in Amsterdam with my class that I actually had to eat out because there was no warm meal for myself. There was nothing that I was able to eat. So it's like fucked up. It is like, okay, I need one warm meal a day. I at least guess. I'm actually not quite sure because if Derek Silver says that he was only eating like fucking peanut butter sandwiches, I don't know. Like, of course, it is not going to be healthy. And which is like, I think staying healthy on a budget is one of the just most difficult things that you can do when you're actually really having no fucking money. Because these things are expensive. Healthy fats are expensive, and healthy carbs are expensive, and just healthy things are more expensive than bullshitty things. I'm seeing it actually with sweets and also with cookies and all those things, like all these sugary bullshit things that you can buy in a supermarket for a fucking $1 per fucking kilo, or 5 pounds, I guess, or 10 pounds. Is that kilo? Let's see. A kilogram, well, is 2.2 pounds. Okay, buying 2.2 pounds of fucking cookies is costing you maybe $1 or €1 and maybe even €2. Like, it's really, really inexpensive, compared to an apple. If you're buying, well, okay, of course, like there's just very inexpensive apples as well. Like, not every apple is going to be a premium one, something that's very expensive. But in general, most often it is something that's more expensive than something that's really unhealthy, unfortunately. And still you can do it, of course you can do it, But it also involves a lot of work. As you can see, he was just working on the fucking weekends as well. He wouldn't have been able to do that when he wasn't working on the weekends. It is what it is. I do not want to say that you should be working out as much as you or until you actually burn out or something. This is not what I want to tell you. This is not what I'm willing to spread. But I think that you just have to work so that you are actually able to maybe not only drink water for a fucking year because you also need food, to just really being able to kind of live below your means, if you know what I'm referring to. But I think it is just really interesting how much spending money actually just moves the whole thing, moves the whole balance between, or the balance of either you're rich or you're poor. Because if you're spending less than you are actually in need of, then of course you're pretty rich, because you could actually spend more, but you choose to not do that, which is something I guess is I'm also doing that. And it is actually my default. Like, I've been thinking about it as I've been just eating my food just 10 minutes ago. And I thought I have always been doing that. I have always been saving my money. I've never ever been just spending my money on any fucking bullshit. Just, besides games, I've actually invested, quote unquote invested, because it is not an investment, I guess, into video games and all those things. Like, of course, I've also bought myself some dumb shit, but I've always been just one of the savers. And I'm still a pretty big saver. Like, I'm saving every single fucking penny that I'm having, When I'm finding something, when I'm finding 1 fucking cent on the streets, I'm gonna fucking pick it up just because it's free money, But yeah, let's actually go through the Wikipedia page that I've mentioned before. So I still actually don't like how Wikipedia is doing it, because the window is actually really small. I'm not gonna complain about that, but the actual size of the text that I'm having there is just so fucking small, just because they need their fucking menu on the left side of the screen to just always be available. But yeah, never mind. We're still gonna go through it. Maybe to just give you some context, rags to riches refers to any situation in which a person rises from poverty to wealth, and in some cases from absolute obscurity to heights of fame, fortune and celebrity, sometimes instantly. I don't think so, which is actually like, okay, you can do that by just stealing and being a robber and all those fucking things. Like, yeah, you can be doing that. But most often you're not gonna be able to do so, And there's also there are also fictional examples, which, for example, includes fairy tales such as Cinderella and Aladdin, the Dickens novel Oliver Twist, whose protagonist rises from a workhouse to child labor to a gang of pickpockets to being adopted by a wealthy family, and the Arthurian story of Sir Gareth, who rises from a lowly kitchen boy to a prominent knight of the Round Table. But let's actually head into the historical section. So, who was actually able to do that in history? The first one is actually Genghis Khan, who was homeless with just his mother and his siblings. He went on to create the largest land empire in history. However, Genghis was the son of a Mongol chieftain, whatever it actually is, but I'm gonna look it up right now. The leader of a people or clan, powerful feudal chieftains, a powerful member of an organization, an elite composed of corporate chieftains, whatever it is actually pronounced. Then we're having Giovanni. Well, I'm actually trying to pronounce it in the correct way. Giovanni de Bicci de Medici, which I guess is correct. Born in poverty, founded the Medici Bank. The Medici were a common family, and because of the Medici Bank, the word bank developed. Because, like, in German, the bank is either the thing that you're sitting on, like in parks, there's also like just some, I don't actually know what it is called in English, I only know that this is bank in German, and bank is also just the money institute in German as well. And as far as I know, like, this is what I've learned in art history, and my professor, she's very, 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 very good at what she's doing, and I appreciate that. So shout out to you. If you might be seeing this in a fucking just 10 years or something, I've really enjoyed the education there, or at your place, or in your lessons, whatever, let's move on. So coming back to the whole bank thing, the word bank in terms of, bank as a money institute goes back to the Medici Bank, because there was a bank, I know there was literally like in German now a bank, like just something that you can sit on, and they just called it bank, and that's quite it actually. And then the Pope Leo III was of commoner origin and attained the high position in spite of violent opposite from the nobility who considered the papacy as their preserve. And like there is many other people, you know. We're actually having 2 popes here. Then we're also having just a lot of emperors like from Chinese history and whatnot. And we're also having I think that's it. You know, for those people that are actually quite old, I would say, or their history is quite old. And on the other hand, we're also having people in the modern and pre-modern times, which includes Jim Ron, sure. Then we're having, I'm gonna just mispronounce it, I'm very sorry for that, Cuauhtemoc Blanco, born in Mexico City in the district of Tlaltilco, but grew up in Tepito, one of the most poor sectors of the Mexican capital, and so on. Susanne Boyle, Simon Cowell, Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather actually as well, Axl Rose, Sheldon Adelson, A.G. Styles, Charles Bronson, Ursula Burns, Panamanian, never mind. Jim Carrey, who is Jim Carrey? I kind of have a feeling that, this is Jim Carrey. I know Jim Carrey, and he's still alive. And he's actually pretty rich, I guess, even though his father has also been a thinking comedian, if I'm not quite wrong here. But yeah, like there's a lot of known names and a lot of just Eminem as well, Chris Gardner, John Gokongwei, Jimi Hendrix, LeBron James, Ralph Lauren, I think, or is it Ralph Lauren? I don't actually know, you know. I guess it's a French guy, and an American fashion designer, philanthropist, and business executive, best known for the Ralph Lauren Corporation, a global multi-billion-dollar enterprise. He has also become well known for his collection of rare automobiles, some of which have been displayed in museums, exhibitions. I can't actually read today. Like it's really, also the whole talking part is quite fucked up today, I have a feeling. But yeah, therefore I'm not gonna talk anymore. I'm actually gonna talk, but I'm not gonna read, you know, because reading is fucked up. So the whole point of this video is to just show you that you can do it. But it's not gonna be easy. It is actually quite simple, you know, save money and then do something with the money that is gonna make you more money. Whether it is just investing into stocks, which is of course very risky, but a lot of things are risky. And doing something else with it, building a business, just doing something with the money that you have saved. As Derek Sivers has done it, as Gary Vee has done it, as Tim Ferriss has done it, as quite everyone has done it. Like they just saved their money because you need money to do something, and then they just did something with it. But also the whole point is that they did something. You know, it is not about learning here, and it is also not about thinking, about dreaming. It is about doing something. Whether it is actually your own podcast, whether it is something else, you need to be doing something. It is the whole point of the whole thing. You need to do something, and it should probably be also something that people like to have or people actually need, you know, which I assume is actually one of the kind of fastest way to wealth, I would say, you know, at least as how I'm thinking about it, at least as how I'm thinking about things that actually make sense. And this would actually be one of the things that makes sense, you know. If people need whatever you're producing, whatever you're doing, then of course they're also gonna fucking buy it. And then you're gonna get the money, which is going to lead you to just investing more money into the whole production, into the whole business, which is going to generate more products and more ideas and more whatever, which is going to lead to more money. And it's gonna be a machine, you know, at least. Like, of course, it is very simplified. You know, it's definitely not going to be that easy in reality. You know, of course, there's going to be a lot of trial and error. There's going to be a lot of just, okay, I'm putting my money into this. Okay, I've lost all my money. There's going to be a lot of failure and a lot of mistakes and a lot of learning. And that's quite good as well, like that, I guess. You know, because if everything would be that easy, it would actually be quite boring, you know, to just, I don't know, like there would not be any sense of just trying to achieve something or trying to get to somewhere if everything was that easy, you know. Why the fuck then would you be doing it, you know? Just besides the whole fact that, of course, you're just able to help other people and you know, all those things. But yeah, just it being hard is one of the things or one of the reasons why it is actually pursued that often by so many people. But yeah, I think this is actually gonna be it with the episode. I hope you've liked it. I hope it wasn't that shitty as actually I'm seeing it, because the talking part, especially in the first few minutes, was just really fucked up and really shitty, and I don't actually know why, but it is what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna see you the next time. Please consider subscribing to the podcast and also to the YouTube channel. And I'm hopefully gonna see you the next time. I wish you best health, happiness, and also success. And I also hope that you're gonna remind yourself and you're gonna be remembered, which basically means your legacy. Just had to look at a package, which is actually under my bed. Quite frank, but never mind. 3 other questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, because often businesses started out with solving something that really pissed them off in the first place. And there's probably also going to be something like that in your life. There's probably also going to be something that really pisses you off and there's no solution to it, because if there was a solution to it, it wouldn't be pissing you off. So yeah, I'm going to see you the next time.